Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram Om 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 Yanmaya Vashavarti Vishwamakhilam Brahmadideva Sura Yat Sattva Bhati Sakalam Rajyo Yatha Brahmaha Yat Padaplavamekame Vahi Bhavam Bodhi Stitir Shavata Vandeham Tamasheshakarana Param Ramakhyamisham Harim Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram Om 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 Jaya Jaya Ram Om Jaya Jaya Ram Om Syavar Ramchandra ki jai Satgurunath Maharaj ki jai We were seeing the portion where Bharatji had come back from his uncle's home, and when he comes back, he sees Ayodhya in that very scary, frightful condition. Goes and meets Kaikeyi. Once he comes to know what she has done, Bharatji is very angry at Kaikeyi. All the things that he says is just an expression of his devotion to Bhagwan Rama. So that whole episode we should see from the lens of a devotee. Now he is coming to Kausalyaji and he is telling her, if a person commits these sins, the results of those sins are such and such things. If I have even the slightest of the intention to send Bhagwan to the forest, become the king of Ayodhya, if I have my hand in this, he says, may I get the papa karma of all these papas. Kausalyaji says, see the Chaupai after 168. Bidu Bisha Chaiva Sravai Himo Agi. Moon can emit poison. Moon, which is so soothing, it can emit poison. And snow can emit fire. Fire can come from snow. Hoi bari chara bari biragi. Whatever water creatures are there, they might give up water. But he says, Bharatji, I know you so well, you can never go against Bhagwan Rama. So that assurance, once he gets from Kausalyaji, Bharatji feels a great sense of relief. That was the condition of Bharatji. Now, while this was going on, Vasishtha Maharshi with all other Rishi Munis, they arrive. This is above 169 Doha. Bamadeva Vasishtha Taba Aaye, Sachiva Mahajana Sakala Bulaye. The portion that we are going to see today is the glory of Vasishtha Maharshi. How does a Brahmajnani express knowledge in transaction? How does a Sthita Prajna live in this world? That is going to be the main theme of Dohas which are going to come today. He comes with all the Rishi Munis and gives appropriate advice. Means whenever advice has to be given, it is a duty of the wise to give it. We saw in Hanuman Chalisa, there is Sukshma Rupa also, there is Bikata Rupa also. In Sukshma Rupa it is said, Na kaschit aprushtam bruyat. If somebody has not asked for advice, please don't give. Na kaschit aprushtam bruyat. On the other hand, when you know somebody is surrendered to you, somebody depends on your advice, at that time don't hesitate to give. So Bharatji did not ask anything, but Vasishtha Maharshi knows the faith of Bharatji. He says, at that time, if I remain quiet, remaining quiet is also not fulfilling dharma. At some points, remaining quiet is being dharmic. But in situations like these, when there is so much of difficulty they are facing, so much of grief is there, the wise person is the one who is not carried away in that grief. He says it is the duty of that Pandita to give this advice. What advice he gives is this whole set of chaupais. Ute Bharata Gura Muni Bahu Bhati Bharata Upadese. In different ways, Vasishtha Maharshi gave Upadesha to Bharatji. He said such situations have come in people's lives in the past. And how did they go through it? That perspective he gave. Kahi Paramartha Bachana Sudese. Sudese means Su-Upadesha. From Dharma standpoint and also from Vedanta standpoint. The beauty of Vedanta is when we study when things are calm. If we study when things are calm, whenever challenges come or times get difficult, just a reminder is sufficient to come out of sorrow. At that time, we cannot learn Vedanta. When there is a difficult situation, if somebody gives Upadesha of Vedanta to a new person, I say that message doesn't get across. But here, Bharatji is somebody who has already learned. So for him, hint is sufficient of how to come out of this situation. Tata Hrudaya Dhiraju Dharahu Karahu Jo Avasara Aju. Look at the clear instruction that Vasishtha Maharshi is giving. He says, you are a Dhira Purusha. Who is a Dhira Purusha? One who can put emotions aside and do whatever has to be done at that given moment. Karahu Jo Avasara Aju. Whatever the time demands, do according to that. Leave aside all other emotions. Ute Bharata Gura Bachana Suni Karana Kaheu Sabu Saju. Bharatji's faith in teacher is such, just one sentence from Vasishtha Maharshi was sufficient for him to get up and start doing things. Different students are there, different spectrum. Bhagwan Krishna also gave clear instruction. Klaibhyam Masmagav Partha. Stand up and fight, everything is said. But Arjuna was not satisfied. He asked many questions, got his answer, then got up. Bharatji's other side. Whatever Bhagwan or whatever his teacher has said, right then and there follows the instruction. Next part is what happens to the last rites of Dashrath Maharaj. After 169, you see. Nrupatanu Veda Vidita Anhavava Parama Vichitra Bimanu Banava Gahipada Bharata Matu Sabarakhi Rahi Rani Darasana Abhilashi Chandana Agar Bhara Bahuai Amita Aneka Sugandha Suhai Saraju Tira Rachichita Banai Janu Surapura Sopan Suhai Ehi Vidhidah Kriya Sabakini Vidhivatanhai Tilanjaludini सोधि सुमृति सब वेद पुराना, कीन्ह भरत दस गात विधाना। जह जस मुनि बर आय सुदीन्हा, तह तस सहस भाति सब कीन्हा। भये विशुद्ध दिए सब दाना, धेनु बाजी गज वाहन नाना। सिंहासन भूषण बसन, अन्न धरनि धन धाम। दिए भरत लहि भूमि सुर, भे परिपूरन काम। पितुहित भरत कीन्हि जसि करनि, सो मुख लाख जाई नहीं बरनि। सुदिनु सोधि मुनि बर तब आए, सचिव महाजन सकल बुलाए। बैठे राजसभा सब जाए, पठये बोलि भरत दो भाई। भरतु वसिष्ठ निकट बैठारे, नीति धर्ममय वचन उचारे। प्रथम कथा सब मुनि बर बरनी, कई कुटिल कीन्हि जसि करनी। भूप धर्म व्रतु सत्य सराहा, जेहि तनु परिहरि प्रेम निबाह। कहत राम गुणशील सुभाऊ, सजल नयन पुलकेउ मुनि राऊ। बहुरि लखन सिय प्रीति बखानी, शोक स्नेह मगन मुनि ज्ञानी। सुनहु भरत भावी प्रबल, बिलखि कहेउ मुनिनाथ। हानि लाभु जीवनु मरनु, जसु अपजसु विधि हाथ। सियावर रामचंद्र की जय, पवन सुत हनुमान की जय। उमापति महादेव की जय, बोलो भाई सब संतन की जय। श्री सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय। Dasharatha Maharaj's deha was kept in oil. Now they put him down, bathe him according to the rituals and traditions. Everything is done. Parama Vichitra Bimanu Banava. The wooden structure that was there for Dasharatha Maharaj's deha to be kept, so it was very, very exquisite. How did it look? Gahi pada bharata matu sabarakhi, रही रानी दर्शन अभिलाषी। चंदन अगर भार बहु आये, अमित अनेक सुगंध सुहाये। It had different kinds of chandana, sandalwood, all other perfumes were there around that pyre. सरजु तीर रचि चिता बनाई, जनु सुरपुर सोपान सुहाई. It looked as though there is a step which is being created to go to Swarga. In that way they created that whole pyre. इहि विधि दाह क्रिया सब कीन्ही, विधिवत नहाई तिलांजलु दीन्ही. After the dahana kriya was done, all the other rituals, tilanjali, the balls of rice, what had to be offered, everything was done with lot of faith. Sodhi sumruti sab veda purana, कीन्ह भरत दस गात विधाना. By carefully reading the scriptures, means having guided by Vasishtha Rishi, based upon scriptures, he did all the Shraddha karmas. Dasagata means 10th day ritual. Whatever has to be done. It is said, the purpose of Shraddha karma is for the jiva to have effortless journey. From one physical body to another physical body, to have effortless journey. That is the purpose of Shraddha karma. But the subtler meaning is, more than the jiva who is undergoing transmigration, the jiva who is doing it gets greater punya. So whoever does with faith the Shraddha karma, the performer gets even greater punya than the jiva who is, for whose sake it is being done. That is the Shraddha of Bharatji. Jaha jasa munibara ayasu dinha, taha tasa sahasa bhati sabu kinha. Whatever instruction Vasishtha Maharshi gave, Bharatji did 1,000 times more than what was asked. If he said give 10 gold coins, he would give 10,000 gold coins. Means not cutting corners anywhere, doing everything with lot of faith and Shraddha. We see the opposite in Kathopanishad. The Rishi said, give cows to the needy. And Maharaj was giving Pito Dakaha Jagdatrunaha. And those cows which were not going to be used for anything, they were given away in Dhanam. So here Bharatji is showing us what is the nature of faith and how does it express. Whenever we have to give, he says give much more than what is asked and give with lot of faith. Bhaye Bisuddha Diye Sabadana. After the 10th day, after having come out of that phase of introspection, those days are generally for introspecting about nature of life. What we say is Sutaka. That is why they have so many other Puranas they read during that time. So that it is a reminder what should be our priority in life and what is the purpose of human birth. So having done that, what is the next step? He says, whatever dana was done, whatever dana could be done, everything Bharatji did. Bhaye Bisuddha Diye Sabadana Dhenu Baje Gaja Bahana Nana. Cows, elephants, different chariots, thrones, singhasana, bhushana, jewels, vasana, anna, dharani, dhanadhama, different types of grains, all other things what could be given as dhanam, everything Bharatji gave. Diye Bharata, lehi bhumi sura, bhe paripurana kam. Bharatji's dhanam was such, whoever received from Bharatji, they did not feel like asking anything again. That is called as paripurana kama. It is said Karna used to give this promise to people who came to him. He said, I give in such a way that you will not have to ask again. Ask what you want. This portion has another symbolic meaning. This I had heard from Maharajji. He said one devotee came to him with lot of sorrow. He said parents were somewhere, they were living somewhere, and during the last days they couldn't be with them. He says, mother, last days I could not serve her, and this thought is bothering me. No matter what I do, it is not leaving me, that I should have gone and served when they needed me towards the end. Maharajji said, why do you think you cannot serve her right now? He said, how? She is not in physical form. How can I serve? He said, take up some sadhana, take up some niyama in her name. Do good work in her name, whatever causes she believed in. Support those causes as your offering of gratitude and seva to her. And he said, come and meet me after 6 months. So this person came, drastic difference from what he was before, and how this mindset of serving the person through a cause, serving the person through sadhana, the kind of opening it brings up, kind of solace it gives. So whatever Dashrath Maharaj did, same things Bharatji is doing now. The dhanam of Dashrath Maharaj was so great, Bharatji says, I will continue whatever my father has started. Pituhita Bharata Keen Jasi Karani. Whatever things Bharatji did for his father, so mukha laka jai nahi barani. That you cannot describe even with thousands of mouths. Means that was his faith. He went over and beyond to accomplish things for his father. Sudinu Sodi. Muni Bharataba Aye. Vasishtha Maharshi found auspicious day, and he came to the palace. Why auspicious day? Because he is to coronate Bharatji. So he already came prepared. He said, what do I have to do? Once I come there, that should be the only thing. Other things I should not think about. If today's day is not auspicious, I should not say, let us meet some other day now. So everything else is sorted out. Only the speaking part, he has kept it for that day. And he remembers last time when he found the auspicious day for Bhagwan Rama to become king, so Bhagwan did not accept the throne. So he wonders, this time also if I find auspicious day, what will it be? Means will Bharatji accept the throne on this day? One commentator he writes there, both times for Rajyabhisheka, whichever day was chosen, both days didn't work out. Because Bharatji is not going to accept throne today also. Overnight he is going to say, let us go to Chitrakoot. Then what is the purpose of this Sudina? Means Vasishtha Maharshi's astrology is questionable, he says. But then he says, don't look at it that way. Whichever day we decide to walk towards the Lord, that day is much more Sudina than Rajyabhisheka. So Bharatji decides to take entire Ayodhyavasis back to Bhagwan. That day has to be the most auspicious day, not necessarily the day when he is coronated as the king. Sudina Sadi Muni Bharataba Aye. Vasishtha Maharshi came there. Sachiva Mahajana Sakala Bulaye. Again, this part, we have to always look at it from the lens of Vasishtha Maharshi as a Brahmajnani. Look at his administrative acumen. How he is planning things. He does not call Bharatji first. He calls all the ministers first. Sachiva Mahajana Sakala Bulaye. And then he calls all other people and makes them sit in the Sabha. Baithe Raja Sabha Sabajai. After that he says, call Bharatji and Shatrugnaji. Pathaye Boli Bharata Do Bhai. He says, if you call them before, there can be more chaos because people will say so many things to Bharatji. Bharatji will see them. Lot of things can go out of control. I want to make sure Bharatji sits on the throne. Last time I went and told Bhagwan Rama in person. That didn't work out. Overnight things got changed. That is what happens when you tell such a big news to that person in person. So Bharatji, he says, I will announce in the court itself. Bring everybody, seat them, and then call Bharatji and Shatrugnaji. Bharatu Vasishtha Nikata Baithare. Both brothers came, but Bharatji was made to sit next to Vasishtha Rishi. Niti Dharmamaya Bachana Uchare. He spoke words of wisdom. And how? What is his dharma right now? This is another thing. Whenever our mind is overpowered by emotions, that mind cannot think what is right and what is otherwise. Same mind, if it has to give advice to somebody else in a similar situation, can think objectively. So the beauty of having somebody like Vasishtha Maharshi is, Bharatji is asking Vasishtha Maharshi, or Vasishtha Maharshi is telling Bharatji what he should do at this point. So all of that he tells. Then he gives a first-hand authentic information of what all happened in Ayodhya. Doesn't assume anything. Because until now, whatever Bharatji has heard, it has all been hearsay. Somebody said something, he saw a few things. But before Vasishtha Maharshi tells Bharatji what to do, he is just giving first-hand information, what all things happened in Ayodhya. Prathama Katha Saba Munibara Barani Kai Kai Kutila Keen Hi Jasi Karani. He says, Bharatji, These are the things which have happened. Let us accept it as it is. There should be no miscommunication. We should not assume that Bharatji knows what all things are happened. He also adds the adjective Kutila, means I am not with her. Whatever Kaikeyi has done, I don't endorse it. He says Kutila Kaikeyi Kinhi Jasi Karani. Then he starts elaborating. Bhupa Dharma Brata Satya Saraha. How Dasharatha Maharaj held on to his dharma and how great was his commitment to truth. Jehi Tanu Parihari Premu Nibaha. That he accomplished dharma and satya, truthfulness, by letting go of his physical body. Means people can let go of so many things, sacrifice so many things for the truth. But the epitome of surrender, epitome of sacrifice, he says, is that person who has given up physical body for holding on to his dharma. That was Dasharatha Maharaj. Kahata Rama Guna Sila Subhav. Then he tells Bharatji about the nature of Bhagwan Rama. How he did not complain, how he did not say anything to anybody, did not blame Kaikeyi. And while he is telling this, Vasishtha Maharshi has tears in his eyes. Sajala Nayana Pulakeu Munirao. It is the same Vasishtha Maharshi who taught Bhagwan Rama in Yoga Vasishtha, Avidyaya Jagat Jatam. This whole world is born due to ignorance. Nasti Satyam Iha Anu Api. There is no reality in this world, even a little bit. Nasti Bhinnam Chitah Kinchit. There is nothing in this world which is different from consciousness. Swapna Vruttam Idam Jagat. This entire world is nothing but a dream. Same Vasishtha Maharshi, Sajala Nayana Pulakeu Munirao. Meaning Brahma Vidya and Bhakti to Bhagwan, Brahma Vidya and emotions in Vyavahara, they are not at conflict with each other. Means whenever Vedanta says, become detached, become dispassionate, somebody like Vasishtha Maharshi is an embodiment of what that virtue means. Dispassionate towards Vishayas, towards sense objects, but when it comes to emotions, that is even sweeter than anybody else. Bahuri Lakhana Siya Preeti Bakhani Soka Saneh Magana Muni Gyani. He tells about the love of Bharat, our Lakshmanji, Sita ji towards Bhagwan Rama, how all of them went with Bhagwan without any second thought. Now he is telling Bharatji, I know what you are going to tell me. Vasishtha Maharshi, if you were there in person when all this was happening, why didn't you stop it? Why didn't you hold back Kaikeyi? Why didn't you change things by telling Dasharatha Maharaj? Vasishtha Maharshi says, before you ask me that question, listen to one thing. Sunahu Bharata. O Bharatji, listen to this. Bhavi Prabala. Bilaki Kaheu Muninath. Whatever is Prarabdha, destiny, it is so powerful. With a sad mind, I am saying this to you. Means not that I didn't want to change it, but if things are meant to happen certain way, even I could not do anything. Even the most powerful person cannot do anything if destiny has determined things in certain ways. Muninatha means this I have reflected upon and then I am telling you. Muni means one who reflects. He says it's not a casual statement. This is my conviction I have arrived at. 3 pairs are mentioned. He says in all 3 pairs, we might want something, but we might get something else. We should not be surprised if we get something that we don't want. What are those pairs? First one is Hani Labha. Hani means loss, Labha is profit. We might have put forth effort to get only profit, but there is some equation of the past also which is working. We might not be able to identify the cause for it. Say, I worked so hard, still why did I go in loss? Say, Bhavi Prabala. That destiny is so powerful that we have to be ready for both. Second pair is Jivana Marana. How will be our life and how will be departure? Both of it, he says, it is not only in our hands. Jivana Marana is not in our hands. Third is Jasa Apajasa. Jasa means good name, Apajasa means ill fame. So I did not do anything in the past. Still, why did I get this ill fame? Vasishtha Maharshi says that is Bhavi Prabala. The thing to note here is, he is not saying that this person is seeking Hani. This person is seeking Apajasa. In spite of doing everything right, still the result might be opposite. And the reason for that is destiny. Jasa apajasa vidhi haat hai. Now destiny is not given by somebody else. It is same jiva's karma which is coming back. Because previously Lakshmanji had said, Kahuna ko sukha dukha karadata nija kruta karma. Our own karmas come back in different ways. If somebody gives joy, don't get attached, because it is karma coming through that person. Somebody gives sorrow, you say don't have any kind of ill feeling there. It is the same karma coming through that jiva. And now he is saying all these pairs are in the hands of Bhagavan. Means both go together. Karma along with karma phaladata. This is gahana karmano gatihi. You never know how this karma works. That is why don't blame anybody. Don't be angry at anybody. That is the next line. Asa bichari kehi dehiya dosu byartha kahi par kije rosu. Don't find fault or blame anybody. And don't get angry at Kaikeyi also. Now one commentator, he has given a beautiful meaning of that second line. Hani labhu jivanu maranu jaso apajasa vidihata. What he says is, the way we look at the world is through our own lens. Means whatever is our perception, our notion, our limited understanding, through that only we try to define things. But he says, if you see in the larger scheme of things, there is a cosmic plan which is working, which might be much beyond than what our narrow mind can think about. So he says, all these 6 things can be seen in this prasanga of Ramayana. Bhagwan Rama Vanvasa happened. Whose Hani happened? He says Ayodhyavasis. Ayodhyavasis had to be separated from Bhagwan Rama. But to look at it from the standpoint of Rishi Munis, Kevat, all the tribal people, what happened from their side? Labha. Devatas whose work had to be done, he says they got so many benefits because Bhagwan came out from Ayodhya. Jivanu means somebody's life was made. Who are those people? He says, look at Sugriva. Look at Vibhishanji. If Bhagwan had not come out, he said they would have been wherever they are. So their life was made. Jivana happened for them because of Bhagwan's Vanvasa. Marana, Ravana had to get liberation. He got moksha because Bhagwan's Vanvasa happened. If Bhagwan had not stepped out of Ayodhya, Bharatji's yasha would not have spread. Even today, whenever we do Pada Puja, tradition was started by Bharatji. The one who said, I am not the ruler, these Padukas will speak to me on what I have to do. He says, who would have known the greatness of Bharatji if Bhagwan had not stepped out? And apajasa of Kaikeyi means adharmic thought. That apajasa would not have happened without this vanavasa. So the main idea is, he says, don't look at things from a very limited perspective. There is something big, something greater that we might not understand. Now Bharatji is telling Vasishtha Maharshi, whatever you said is okay. I am not blaming anybody. I am also not angry at Kaikeyi anymore. But still my sorrow for Dashrath Maharaj is not going away. Nanu shochanti panditaha, I have heard. But my shoka is not going away by this understanding. So next portion is a very beautiful portion where Vasishtha Maharshi is telling who is that person who is supposed to be grieved over. Who is that person who is worthy of grief? He says Dashrath Maharaj does not fall in any of these categories. So don't have grief about him. He has lived a good life. He is in a much better place. Dukkha is okay, but not shoka. Shoka also not anushoka. Anushoka means that which remains for a long time. But one thing to note here is, many things are criticized. But whenever criticism comes in scriptures, it is not for the sake of criticizing. It is to tell us that we should do the opposite. Like in Ishavasya we saw, Asuryanamate lokaha, andhena tamasavritaha, tamste prityabhigachanti, yeke chatmahano janaha. Means those people who don't do karma yoga nor follow jnanam. They go to these worlds where there are limited opportunities for Brahma Vidya. Now that is not to criticize a person. What did Bhagwan say there? It is to do stuti of mantra 1 and 2. Means we have to do karma yoga and then abide in knowledge. To praise that, something is criticized. If you miss this point, this whole thing will look like, what is Goswamiji saying? He is criticizing this person, that person, telling this person is worthy of grief. Adhyatma Vidya is always for self-introspection. Means he is just defining, if these kind of thoughts are there in a person's mind, very quickly it will bring sorrow. So if we want a healthy mind, he says remove these things. That healthy mind will bring a healthy family. That healthy family will bring a healthy society. That is the bhavana here. Let us chant after Doha number 171. अस विचार के ही देय दोसु, व्यर्थ काहि पर कीजिय रोसु, तात विचारु करहु मन माहि, सोच जोगु दशरथु नृप नाहि, सोचिय विप्र जो वेद विहीना, तजि निज धर्मु विषय लय लीना, सोचिय नृपति जो नीति न जाना, जहि न प्रजा प्रिय प्राण समाना, सोचिय बयसु कृपन धनवानु, जो न अतिथि शिव भगति सुजानु, सोचिय शूद्र विप्र अवमानी, मुखर मान प्रिय ज्ञान गुमानी, सोचिय पुनिपति वंचक नारी, कुटिल कलह प्रिय इच्छाचारी, सोचिय बटु निज व्रतु परिहरई, जो नहीं गुर आयसु अनुसरई, सोचिय गृही जो मोह बस, करई करम पथ त्याग, सोचिय जति प्रपंचरत विगत विवेक विराग बैखानस सोई सोचे जोगु तपु बिहाई जेहि भावै भोगु सोचिय पिसुन कारण क्रोधी जननी जनक गुर बंधु विरोधी सब विधि सोचिय पर अपकारी निज तनु पोषक निर्दय भारी सोचनीय सब ही विधि सोई जो न छाड़ी छलु हरिजन होई सोचनीय नहीं कोसल राऊ भुवन चारि दस प्रकट प्रभाऊ भयउ न अहइन अब हो निहारा भूप भरत जस पिता तुम्हारा विधि हरिहर सुरपति दिसिनाथ बरनहि सब दशरथ गुण गाथा कहु तात की भांति को करहि बड़ाई तासु राम लखन तुम शत्रुघ्न सरिस सुवन सुचि जासु सियावर रामचंद्र की जय पवन सुत हनुमान की जय उमापति महादेव की जय बोलो भाई सब संतन की जय श्री सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय। Puja Guruji in the book Dharma Shastra has beautifully defined definition of dharma. Guruji says the set of rules which is given for us to have a happy life here and hereafter, that is called as dharma. Means whatever will put a check on the impulses of our mind, that virtue is called as dharma. So for everybody there will be different dharma based upon their varna, based upon ashrama. Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, varna dharma. Brahmachari, Grahastha, Vanaprastha, Sannyasi, ashrama dharma. And if somebody doesn't follow that dharma, that will bring sorrow. He says those who are not following that dharma, they are worthy of grief. So first varna that is taken up is Brahmana. Sochiya Viprajo Beda Bihina. Brahmana who is not studying Vedas, who is unfamiliar with scriptures, he says that Brahmana is worthy of grief. Means he is not Brahmana, he is Brahma Bandhu. Chandogya Upanishad, Uddalaka Muni uses this adjective for Shvetaketu. He says you are born in such an illustrious family, and if you don't study Vedas, then you will only be knower of somebody who has studied Vedas, a relative of somebody who has studied Vedas, but you yourself will not be called as knowledgeable person. Brahma Bandhu, that is a term used. If you have studied Chandogya, then just this word is sufficient to know what we are talking about. And we studied Chandogya. Thanksgiving 2021, that was the topic. Brahma Bandhu Riva. Taji Nija Dharma Bishaya Layalina. And he has given up study of scriptures and his mind is after sense objects. That kind of Brahmana is worthy of grief, not Dasharath Maharaj. Now, with Dasharath Maharaj as the main point, he is telling everybody, all different ashramas they are taken, to explain the same point. Sochi and Nrupati, second one is Kshatriya. That king is worthy of grief, jo neeti na jana, who doesn't know the rules of how to administer, doesn't know dharma, how to righteously rule a kingdom, one who is inadvertent about it. Can you tell me an example from Bhagavatam? Raja Vena. When Raja's Katha comes, he says he was like this. After that, Prithu Maharaj Avatara takes place. Means one who is least concerned about administration, doesn't care how people are living. Everything is out of whack. That kind of a king is worthy of grief. Jehina Prajapriya Prana Samana. That king whom his subjects don't love like their own prana, means he has not gotten acceptance from people. That king is worthy of grief. Sochiya Bayasu Krupanu Dhanvana. Third one is Vaishya. Vaishya is somebody. What was the combination of gunas? Rajoguna high, Tamoguna backing it. Brahmana is somebody, Sattva guna is very high. Kshatriya is somebody, Rajoguna high, Sattva guna backing it. Vaishya is somebody whose Rajoguna is high, Tamoguna is backing it. Means everything he does, finally he looks for a profit. One of our Gujarati Swamiji would say, Faido su che? Means whichever project he takes, he will say, what is the faida for me? Only then he will start, otherwise he will not. Now if he has gotten lot of resources and he is not giving it back, Sochiya Bayasu Krupanu Dhanavano. Krupanu means he is not sharing it back. Hoarding all resources, that person is worthy of grief. Means he has not understood that between Dhanam and Sukham, there is no direct connection. Between Dhanam and Sukham, there is no connection. Dhanam converted to Punya, that brings Sukham. Through Dhanam, that Punya which he could have gained, that he did not, and his Dhanam is not bringing him Sukham. Jona Atiti Siva Bhagati Sujano. One who has resources, one of their duty is to do seva of Atiti. Atiti means one who comes without any intimation. Tithi na vidyate. The one who doesn't give any date. To look upon them as Bhagwan. That is the duty of one who is resourceful. So this person is somebody who is not doing samman of Atiti and is not devoted to Bhagwan. Jona Atiti Siva Bhagati Sujano. He doesn't know how to do these things. Now you can reflect on your own. Why is Goswamiji saying all these things? I'm just sharing those which different commentators they have interpreted. Why Goswamiji is saying that such a person is worthy of grief if these things are not there in him. Sochiya Sudra Bipra Avamani. Person whose tamoguna is high. But at the same time, in the power of that tamoguna, he comes under its sway and insults wise people. He says that person is worthy of grief. Mukhara. Mukhara means one who likes to talk a lot. Manapriya. One who likes lot of respect. Jnana Gumani. Knows very little, but is very proud of whatever little he knows. He says that person is worthy of grief. That's why I said the introduction to this topic is important. Goswamiji is not criticizing a particular person. He is criticizing this mindset and he says the purpose of mentioning this is to do the opposite. To drop these things and to hold on to the good sides. Next one, this one you can put it in Grahastha Dharma also. Next line what he says, Sochiya Punipati Panchaka Nari Kutila Kalahapriya Ichhachari. After Varna Dharma, he is coming to Ashrama Dharma. For a Grahastha Ashrami, he says the first quality that should be there is trust in the family. If that trust is lost, he says everything is lost. That is that Panchaka word is used there. And deceit, fight, one should not have any mahatva buddhi in them. Mahatva buddhi means not justify them or see any value in these things. Kutila Kalha Priya Ichhachari. Ichhachari means somebody who is not having any disciplines, doesn't like any rules and regulations. That person is worthy of grief. Sochiya Batu. Now comes Brahmacharya Ashrama. That Brahmachari is worthy of grief who doesn't have spiritual disciplines. Sochiya Batu Nija Bratu Pariharai. Whatever spiritual disciplines you should have held on to, one who is not having any of it, Vasudha Maharshi says that person is worthy of grief. No excuses. Jo nahi gura ayasu anasarai. One who is not following Guru Ajna, that student is worthy of grief. Next one is Grahastha-ashrami. Doha number 172. Sochiye gruhi jo moha basa karai karama pathatyaga. Because of delusion, because of moha, one who gives up all duties, duty towards family, duty towards society, for whatever reasons, he says that person is worthy of grief. This is for Grahastha-ashrami sadhaka. Soche jati prapancharata. Now is sannyasa-ashrami. That sannyasi is worthy of grief whose mind is in prapancha. Soche jati prapancharata bigata viveka viraga. One who doesn't have viveka, discernment, and doesn't have vairagya. That sannyasi is worthy of grief, not Dasharatha Maharaj. Next, Vanaprastha ashrama. Baikhanasa soi socha jo. Baikhanasa soi soche jogu tapu bihai jahi bhavai bhogu. That Vanaprasthi is worthy of grief whose mind is in bhoga. Bhajogovindam Bhagwan elaborates. Vruddho yati gruhitva dandam tadapina munchati ashapindam dashana vihina jatastundam. Means all different faculties are falling apart, but still this sadhaka is having desires. That person is worthy of grief. Sochiya pisuna. Now next line is general. No varnashrama, all varnashramas are covered. Sochiya pisuna akarana krodhi janani janaka gura bandhu birodhi. This that commentator writes, it is ghora papa. This particular line, he says, is ghora papa. What is it? One who is pisuna. Pisuna word, it comes in 16th chapter also. In Daivi Sampatti, Bhagavan says, Apaishunam. Apaishunam means one who is not gossiping. Bringing out somebody else's negativities. That is considered as Ghora Papa. Several places, even in Uttarakhand, Bhagavan says, the one who does it, in particular in that person's absence. He says that brings lot of papa to this person. One poet has written in one place that there are navarasas in any play, in anything. He says the 10th rasa is ninda rasa. Means it gives so much joy and superimposes a sense of perfection in the person who is doing that. That is a play of Maya. Hides all the imperfections in ourselves and projects everything outside. Sadhaka has no place for this. Sochiya pisuna, if somebody has it, that person is worthy of grief. Akarana krodhi, one who gets angry without a reason. Akarana krodhi. Commentator, he writes, if somebody gets angry without a reason, his anger can never be cured. If you remove the karana, if you remove the cause, then the effect will go away. But this person is having an effect without a cause. So what are you going to work with? Means his personality becomes like that. You say, why are you angry? That is how I am. He says that person is worthy of grief. Janani Janaka Gura Bandhu Birodhi. One who has created enmity with parents. Janani means mother, father, Janaka, and Guru, teacher, and relatives. Bandhu. Anadrutastu yaiste sarvaha tasya afalaha kriyaha. This is another quotation which comes in Shastra. That person who has done this, created enmity with parents, teachers, and Guru, any satkarma done by this person doesn't produce results. The main point here is sadhaka should strive to do the opposite. Introduction, you remember, all these things will open up in a different way. Whatever is needed to come out of this, Vasishtha Maharshi tells we have to try to do it. Sababidhi sochiya para apakari. Person who is causing harm. He says that person is worthy of grief in all ways. Nijatanu poshaka nirdaya bhari. Because he is so self-centered, doesn't think about other person. Sochaniya sabahi vidhi soi, jo nahi chhadi chalu, harijana hoi. Last one he says, even if somebody has any or all of these limitations, everything can be removed if they have devotion to the Lord. If that devotion is not there, he says that person is worthy of grief. Bhakti, it is said, is like salt for all different types of cuisines. Means whoever is doing whichever dharmic act, the underlying thing for that is devotion to the Lord. Minus that, he says you do whatever you want. It will not produce its results. Sochaniya nahi kosala ravu bhuvana charidasa pragata prabhavu. Dashrath Maharaj is not worthy of grief because his fame is spread in all 14 worlds. Bhayav na ahai na abahonihara bhupa bharata jasa pita tumhara. You know, Vasishtha Maharshi is the guru of Dashrath Maharaj. And his love for his student, that is expressed here. He says, until now, there was nobody like him. There is nobody like him. There will be nobody like Dashrath Maharaj. Bhupa Bharata jasa pita tumhara. Like your father, there is no other person. All great devatas, Bhagwan Vishnu, Bhagwan Shiva, Brahmaji, everybody sings his glory. That is his greatness. And finally he says, tell me Bharatji, one who has gotten son like Bhagwan Rama, son like you, Lakshmanji and Shatrugnaji, how can that person be worthy of grief? This whole portion, it's so beautiful of how Vasishtha Maharshi brings Bharatji out of grief. First of all, gives him Upadesha, tells him the fact. He's not just telling him something to cheer him up. He says, this is what is the situation, this is what you have to do. And finally goes through different points, whose main essence is, if a person has lived a dharmic life, that person is not worthy of grief. Next portion is when they are going to tell Bharatji to take up the throne. And what Bharatji responds, what he does, that we will see after summer break. There are some announcements and thoughts. Let me share that after we do this. अगणित गुणगण भूषण रामा आश्रित वत्सल जय जय रामा अयोध्यवासी सीतारामा आपत् बांधव जय जय रामा दशरथ नंदन श्रीरामा दशमुख मर्दन जय जय रामा कौसल्या सुखवर्धन रामा कामित फलदा जय जय रामा पाप विमोचन श्रीरामा पट्टाभिराम जय जय राम जानकी वल्लभ सीताराम जय रघुराम जय सीताराम वानर सेवित श्रीराम वारिधि बंधन जय जय राम हनुमत पूजित सीताराम श्रीराम जय जय राम रघुपति राघव राजा राम पतित पावन सीताराम श्रीराम जय राम श्रीराम जय जय राम सियावर रामचंद्र की जय सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय। With Bhagwan's grace and blessings, we are in between AyodhyaKand right now. Every prasanga is beautiful. I feel very blessed to have this opportunity every Wednesday to reflect on Ramcharitmanas. Our prayer to Bhagwan is, may our love for Katha grow more and more. Whatever we are doing is support for that. Teaching is also support. Listening is also support. Main Phalashruti is love for the Lord should increase. Really speaking, my job is very easy. I just come here and start. But to put this thing together week after week and in the way that we are blessed to do over here requires a big team. Not only this class, every class, so many people support. So my gratitude to all the sevaks, our AV team, Sriniji and Vasuji. They are always behind the scene with their cameras off. And you noticed we had live singers come in. This was the only class, I think, in the online classes we have. So our Geeta ji, she coordinates all of that, following up with them every single week, making sure that they are here. And all the singers who enthusiastically prepare, time it exactly for 10 minutes, not 1 minute more, not 1 minute less. So appreciate all of that. It sets a very good tone for the class. Now you might be wondering, we have a summer break, 3 months. How can we stay in touch with Ramcharitmanas? What I did was, I picked prasangas, different portions from Ramcharitmanas until Kishkinda Kand. And we have compiled one document with only those important prasangas, not the whole Ramcharitmanas. So if you go to our website, go to the resources folder, Vedanta class materials. There is Ramcharitmanas. Other two I will talk about later in other classes. Go to Ramcharitmanas. That document says selected prasangas from Ramcharitmanas. So these are not famous prasangas, but these are important prasangas. Means like the Manas Prakatya. How did Ramcharitmanas, how was Ramcharitmanas born? Shiva Gita, Lakshman Gita, Navadha Bhakti, Nama Mahima Prakaranam. Then the prayer that Sita ji does to Parvati ji. It's a very powerful prayer that is also there. So important prasangas we have compiled in one place. If you want to do Parayanam, this is a good place to start. Whole thing is sometimes overwhelming. Where do we start? So just the important portions. I have not included stutis. We can do it separately. Or stutis are well known. So that can be easily chanted. But these are portions in the text that is useful for Parayanam. So I hope all of you will get a chance to review it and chant it also. Thanks to all of you for joining online, and special thanks to those who came in person. They tell me it is different for them. It is different for me too, for having class in person. And I hope more of you will be encouraged to join next time when we start in fall. Okay. And those who are coming will continue. Okay. Good. Tomorrow we have Ishavasya class in the morning, but this will be our last Ramcharitmanas before summer break. Okay. Did I cover everything?